of monster are you? The Wolverine.
Some of my favorite actors of all time have great physiques, but which one's the best? Here's the top 10 best actor physiques, in my opinion, of course. Number 10, Henry Cavill.
It was vital that I represented the character from the comic books properly, and hopefully I did.
Well, in my opinion, on the basis of trying to look like the cartoon Superman, he did a pretty good job. If we actually compare them side to side, we could see that their physiques are quite comparable. Comic book Superman has a little bit wider waist, wider shoulders, bigger traps, but other than that, pretty close. In order to attain the Superman physique, Henry Cavill claimed to be eating 4,000 to 6,000 calories a day, training 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for a total of 10 months. He was doing everything from plyometrics to calisthenics, weightlifting, cardio, and a little bit of boxing sprinkled in there too. He has a great physique, but he is lacking a little bit in the shoulder department as well as the conditioning. He is quite lean, but not to the standard. Number 9, Chris Evans.
Training we worked on was just weight training, getting big. So for about 3 months we trained in Boston, and it was a couple hours a day. I have to eat like these just bland, naked pieces of chicken and rice, and it's not that appetizing. Right.
Now I don't really have any clips of him training, but I do have stunt choreography.
And action.
So in that interview, and a quote from another interview, he says, "For this film, it was about 3 months of training and I wasn't looking forward to it. I've always liked going to the gym, but these weren't normal gym sessions. I was puking at the gym. They were brutal, absolutely brutal." So he said himself, he only trained 3 months for Captain America, which is insane. So besides the fact that he was absolutely roided out of his mind, let's talk about his physique. So he's definitely not lacking in the chest or arms, but what he is lacking in is the conditioning, which makes sense because for the role of Captain America, 90% of the time, he's got a shirt on. So the goal was not for him to look lean and shredded without a shirt, but rather big and full with a shirt, which I think he achieved. So same thing with Henry Cavill. He's got a great physique, big chest, big arms, but his conditioning is not up to par, so he's number 9. Number 8, Sylvester Stallone.
The character dictates that you have to have a certain body style. I would like to just, weigh 400 pounds and eating cashews in Tahiti. I have to kind of like live this lifestyle. It's not a healthy one. I mean, it looks all right, but it's really after a while, it does wear you down.
Sylvester Stallone is on the exact opposite end of the spectrum. He's not crazy big, but he is crazy lean. In my opinion, his best physique came out of 1985 for Rocky IV and Rambo First Blood Part 2. During that time, he was training with Mr. Olympia Franco Columbu. They were training twice a day, 6 days a week, while eating basically nothing. But I guess all that work paid off because he got down to a self-proclaimed 2.9% body fat, which I do not believe. But he did have a great physique and he was super shredded, especially for 1985. Number 7, John Cena.
You never juiced? Were you able to get that way on your own?
Yeah, absolutely. I started working out when I was 12 years old. And it was a true comic book story. I was getting beat up every day in junior high. I finally started working out and
hit the gym.
Yeah.
Learn some self-defense.
Not even. Just that is a pretty intimidating thing.
Former WWE superstar turned actor, John Cena is probably the biggest guy and leanest guy on this list so far. As well as being the biggest, he's also probably the strongest. He's got a 270 kilogram deadlift, which is insane, and he's also able to bench 200 kilograms. And in this video, you could see him absolutely toying with a 230 kilogram deadlift. Now, as of recently, he has lost a little bit of size, but he's even leaner now than he was back then. Now, the only thing really dragging his placement down is his aesthetics. He is pretty big, but he's not very aesthetic at all, but I think he's still deserving of the number 7 spot. Number 6, Chris Hemsworth.
Was it hard to actually get the muscle bulk on?
It was. The eating was probably the most difficult part.
Yep.
It wasn't the fun kind of eating either. It was copious amounts of chicken breast and various animal proteins and what have you.
Is that real?
Yeah, I wouldn't have spent 6 months in the gym. I read the comic books and noticed the character was 700 kilograms, so that certainly lit a bit of fire.
Now, the movie he's referring to there is the first original Thor movie, but as of recently for Love and Thunder, he has stated that he's doing a lot less time training in the gym, but greater intensity, big power movements, drop sets, going slow on the concentric, and exploding up on the eccentric, stuff like that. Now, there's plenty of clips on the internet of him doing boxing training, as well as doing different CrossFit circuits, and good old-fashioned calisthenics and weightlifting. Now, the main thing dragging his placement up is his arms. I mean, look at that. The rest of his physique is great too. He's got a big chest, cap delts, good abs, traps. I really have no complaints. Number 6. Number 5, Johnathan Majors.
I was gaining size, best I could.
while doing heavy cardio. I'm doing 3 sessions a day, you know, 1 by myself. I know Mike would come in when we were training, and I would train with Mike. No, I would train alone, and then Mike would come in, and I'd stay and I'd train with Mike. And then we'd have rehearsal throughout the day, and of course you do your, you know, late night meditation workout, you know, where you're jumping rope and jumping rope and jumping rope. And
3 training sessions a day is no joke. In this Men's Health interview, he says that during his weight training sessions, he's doing a lot of supersets, going from abs to back to traps, and for every movement he's doing like 3 or 4 sets. But I guess it's working for him because he's big and lean. He's like Sylvester Stallone, but a little bit bigger. And he's the first guy on this list to have an actually pretty good back. And he's got those big, blocky abs, making his physique look powerful. And he's also got his boxing training on lock as well, being able to train boxing with our number 4 spot. Number 4, Micheal B Jordan.
You put on 20 pounds of muscle. And obviously for Creed, and you're doing a lot of nutrition, fitness, all that.
Diet-wise for me, honestly, it's portion control. I eat like 5 to 6 times a day, every 2 to 3 hours. And we're working out 2 to 3 times a day, 6 days a week.
2 to 3 times a day.
It's a job to get into shape.
In my opinion, Micheal B Jordan's best physique came out of Creed 2. This is where we first started seeing him getting really big, and he got his conditioning on lock as well. If we actually throw up a comparison between Creed 1 and Creed 2, we could see in Creed 2 he's got quite a bit of chest development, shoulder development, and he's a little bit leaner as well. Now the placements between him and Johnathan Majors were kind of a toss-up, because I think that Jonathan's got him beat in overall mass, but I like the aesthetics of Michael's physique more, so that's why he's 1 place higher. Number 3, Ryan Reynolds.
I'm eating drywall and wood chips, mostly. The trainer, before we started the film, wanted to pack on about 10 pounds on me and muscle up. You know, you got to be able to lift people over your head and throw them around and fight blood-sucking vampires.
For Ryan, is it something like 3.8% body fat?
Same thing with Stallone, not quite sure about 3.8, but he is quite lean and quite aesthetic too, more so than I was actually expecting. So Ryan Reynolds has pretty much always been in good shape, but I think his best shape was in Blade Trinity, where he trained 3 months and gained about 10 pounds for the movie, eating 3,200 calories a day. So of course, as you saw, he was doing a lot of strength training sessions for the movie, lifting weights, but he was also doing a lot of cardio since he was doing martial arts for the movie as well. So the reason I got him so high up on the list is because I think he's one of the most aesthetic actors. He's got super wide clavicles, giving him nice broad shoulders and giving him a nice V-taper. He's got pretty much perfectly symmetrical abs and a plate of armor-esque chest. Easily number 3. Number 2, Hugh Jackman.
I trained like I've never trained in my life before, and I ate for pretty much all of Australia, I think. I think we wiped out a complete gene pool of chickens. There's a lot of chickens, a lot of salmon, a lot of steamed vegetables that were eaten, and a lot of egg whites. I had a little bit of a head start on those guys. I started about a year before the film, and then I cast them as close as possible to the start date. So they're like, man, what? And I said, yeah, you got 3 weeks, man. I just did it, so it's up to you.
So the film that he's referring to in that interview is X-Men Origins Wolverine. This was the first movie where he actually started showing off a big, lean, anabolic physique. But I think his best physique came out of X-Men Days of Future Past. This is when you could see him with just absolutely shredded to the bone, huge chest, huge shoulders, everything like that. At one point, Hugh Jackman claimed to be eating 8,000 calories a day, which is crazy because he's diced to the frickin' socks. And he's got a big chest, cap delts, and crazy vascular arms. I mean, even when he's not on a movie set and he's just walking around in everyday life, he's crazy vascular. He's just got that big, lean, mean physique. Number 1, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I usually eat the same thing every day. I eat 6 meals a day, so I don't really have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Although I have breakfast, that's always my meal 1, but everything else will fluctuate.
Of course it's The Rock. I mean, at this point, he doesn't even have to act anymore because he's just the big muscular guy in every movie. And yes, these are 4 different movies. In order to maintain his crazy physique, which he does year-round by the way, he has to eat a lot as well as train a lot. He's been on record saying that he trains 6 days a week doing an ungodly amount of sets and reps. So you'd basically have to be a superhero in order to survive 1 workout. You really can't ignore how big this guy is though. He is easily the biggest guy on this list so far, and for roles like Black Adam, he gets crazy ripped. Now, despite how lean he gets, he doesn't really have very good abs, but I'm not going to hold that against him because it's basically entirely genetic, and the rest of his physique is great. He's got big biceps, super wide lats, and the first guy on this list to actually have some pretty big legs. I mean, seriously, number 1 is obviously The Rock. He's the biggest, leanest, and most famous actor out of everyone else on this list. Easily number 1. Well, that's it for my list, but I want you guys to comment down below if there's anyone that should have been on this list, that wasn't, as well as your favorite actor from this list as well. Subscribe, check out my previous video, follow my Instagram, everything down below. That's about it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.